be the reason?
Well, the reason is very simple, and that's why I'm saying that I hold President Cyril Ramaphosa directly responsible for what has happened, the tragedy that has happened, because he then calls a meeting of the so-called uh, deployment committee of the ANC on the 24th of November 2014 to then in that take an unlawful action of having me unlawfully removed as the chairman of the board when I had a ticket in hand and I was supposed to travel on that Wednesday. It was on a Monday morning. On the Wednesday, I was supposed to fly and sign the agreement in Malaysia for Petrol SA to then acquire Engine. And the company which President Cyril Ramaphosa still has got business interest with is a company called Pembani. I'm not, listen,
Conspiracy theorist.
I'm not talking bad about anyone, and I'm not defaming anybody. These are just the facts. And if they feel uncomfortable, if they are unhappy about it, well, so be it. I am not interested to whether they get offended by when I'm stating the facts. They know what they have done is very wrong for this country. There's not a single one of them. And more so, what was more egregious was the fact that Pembani, in March 2014, had signed an irrevocable undertaking to sell its 20% shareholding in Engine on the same terms as Petrol SA was to buy Engine from Petronas. That is something that should have happened. It should have gone through. And then there's the president directly intervening that, or the then deputy president as the head of government business, because he was the deputy president of the country, but also as the chair of the deployment committee of the ANC, which, as much as I am a member of the ANC, I have always held for a long time that the deployment committee is unlawful and it gives no space. There's a way that you need to do it. We can have a debate. I've debated with comrades about that. I'm not interested. Because then what happened is that my unlawful removal, of course, I went to court. And all the false accusations that were made about me, of course, I was paraded in national media everywhere else to really, I think, cartoon me. But those that were doing so some of them were doing it because they were paid, and I've got evidence to that effect. But others were just doing it because, well, khatwing, batsamaya ka mo go fe.
Yes.
And when you look back now, this is what happened. Failure then for us to do that deal. The same transaction, if we were to do it today, the premium will be between 14 and 15 billion rand, not because Engine as a company, its valuation multiples have improved so much by a factor of 14 or 15 billion rand. No, because of exchange rate.
Yeah.
Because energy assets are valued in dollars. It doesn't matter, whatever you come to, you'll still have to use a dollar as your base valuation. So we will now pay 14 to 15 billion rand more, depending on what the rent is. Had President Cyril Ramaphosa, the then deputy president, not taken that unlawful action to remove me when he knew full well that I was actually on the verge of signing that agreement, this country would have been better off.
Yeah.
And he has never once, because I'm not gossiping about him. Well, we are in media, but I'm not gossiping. But I told him at the Union Building in 2015. And I told him that. So he knows the truth.
Yeah.
He knows I'm not, defaming him or anything like that. But he himself, he's going to have to face his own demons. He himself is going to have to come to say that history is the fairest judge of all. And a good conscience is the only sure reward. The question is that will he have a good conscience? Will history judge him based on the work that he did? And when it judges him, what will that court of history, when it sits in judgment, what verdict will it give on him? I'm talking about something where I can personally, I've got evidential material to be able to sustain the statements that I'm making. I'm not just making some unfounded allegations. But so as a country now, of course, I told them at the time that Petrol SA, there was no way it was going to continue to operate. It's now near bankrupt. It can't even have, in fact, they are killing the plant.
It's a deliberate act now.
It is a deliberate act.
Yeah.
And I think what is going to happen is that I know that the politicians, the grubby, greedy, comprador politicians are now trying to bring Petrol SA into the